All right, fine. I'll be a gracious host. How you doing?
Little Mermaid is the scariest Disney movie by far, though.
Why the hell is Ace Blade in your Kickstarter?
Some comics. I'm getting controversial today. We're gonna get controversial today with.
My proudest moment is this interview and being able to talk to you two.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Taurus Comics, in collaboration with Fourth Wall Productions, respectfully brings to you the 102nd episode of the Four Tales podcast. I am your host, Kyron Silva from Taurus Comics. Across the way is a purple publicist of Ace Blade, Danny J. Quick, and together we are your two award-winning Blurred comic creators here to help you find your next favorite comic. We are live on the Ages of Geekdom Network via Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. So if you're listening or watching us live, thank you for your support. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and review this podcast because all your positive reviews and interactions help us reach a bigger audience. Was that a box of crayons I just saw?
What? What are you talking about? I didn't have a box of Crayola crayons in my hand. Hey, man, that comic book over there.
No. You can't. Okay. What's up with the crayons?
I have children, man. You always have to have some crayons somewhere if you got children who are under teenage years. So definitely have crayons all over the house right now.
Yeah, but why do you have the crayons right now?
Well, Olivia was in here coloring yesterday. So, the crayons are still here. And I was just like, let me just put these back in the box where they're supposed to go while Kyron is doing his wonderful intro.
Thank you.
How you been?
Man, I'm all right, man. I'm still a little, I'm a little sad still about our defeat last night.
I know, man. I was just thinking, we came in second place. It almost feels worse to come in second, because you're right there at it. We were right there with the last four in the match. We took out one of those guys, and then the last one got us. So
no, you took out one of those guys. I was shot in the back trying to hide.
We took out one of the guys. I should have pulled out the weapons instead of trying to grapple blade them. But the grapple blade sometimes I can get in my head about because it's really effective because it knocks them back. It does damage. It breaks shields. It does all that. So.
All right. Before anybody that's wondering what we're talking about Fortnite. Dan and I played Fortnite last night. It's Fortnite Friday. We came in second and won a match in a team up, and then we placed 47th in the last match.
the last match we got killed almost immediately,
and we were like, all right, you know what? It's time to go. It's time to log off for now.
Where are we streaming those? Is it just on the YouTube?
Yeah, just on YouTube. So if you want to watch it for some reason and listen to us banter while we die, go to YouTube, check out Four Tales Podcast. You can see last night's replay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Man. But no, I'm all right. Still getting, I'm excited. Next week is Black Comics Day. I'll be in San Diego for that, seeing some of our previous guests are going to be there also. So I might catch up with them.
Jones will be there.
Yeah. Who?
Yeah. Keith and Jones, isn't he gonna be there?
Oh yeah. I thought it was somebody else. Greg.
Yep. Greg Anderson.
Yeah. I want to say there's somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Get some pictures for the Instagram.
Okay. All right. Well, how are you? Since you asked me, how are you?
Oh man, I'm doing great, man. Just happy to be alive and healthy, and and advancing in life. I got a full day of work for comic book stuff today. I'm coloring comic books today. It's literally gonna take me all day. I already know, but I'm not gonna do as much detail as you did. But I'll probably just do some standard. The important stuff is gonna get colored. Everything else is gonna be black and white. Everything else is gonna be black and white. So.
My bad. I had too much going on with family stuff, and after we finish this episode, I'm gonna go take a shower, get ready, and then I'm gonna take my son out for his birthday. Nice. We're gonna go to celebrate his birthday. So I'm like, this weekend is just terrible. And then tomorrow's football. So
Don't go see The Beekeeper because it was terrible. But
well, my
like
son is only 8, so I'm not gonna go
oh yeah,
tell.
yeah, no. I thought you were talking about the older one.
Oh, okay. Have you
Oh
not?
no.
After age 12, they don't want to hang out with you no more.
Oh, that's not true. My 16 and 18-year-olds love hanging out. Took her to see The Beekeeper with her boyfriend on Wednesday. So they love hanging out with us. They like to play spades with us and sit and watch movies and eat all our food and you know. But anyways,
Glad you had that great relationship. Let's bring our guest on and see what kind of relationship he has with his family.
oh, love it.
That was a great segue. Was that a good segue?
That was good. That was good.
All right, all right. So we're gonna bring on the amazing creator, writer, artist, Xing Xin on. How's it going, Xing?
It's good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Great.
Good.
Thank you.
How's your relationship with your family and kids, if you have any?
Oh no clones. No.
Okay.
No. It's funny when you said the name of the episode. I said it sounds like a clone battalion. That's like a unit that just didn't make it out of the Clone Wars. But no kids. I have lots of nieces and nephews though.
Okay.
But yeah,
That's
no,
good.
no
That's good.
kids.
All right.
So
So for anybody who may be unfamiliar with your work, give us a brief intro to you and your history in comics and what you're working on now.
so it's been like 30 years that I've been literally doing this. I published my first work in 1996. It was black and white, very bad. There was no print on demand back then, so I had to make the books. I had to do the 4x4 pages, and then I had to like trim them myself because it was just it wasn't at all like it is today. So I've been doing this a really long time. It's the same series that I created back then that I'm working on today and publishing as a graphic novel series, and it is. I just passed 6,085 physical copies sold without crowdfunding. It has been acquired. It's going to be an anime that's going to be on streaming. The trailer is being storyboarded in Japan right now. It's being worked on by a group of artists who used to work at Square Enix, and they worked on various Final Fantasy titles. So they're really very talented artists who are doing it. I'm writing and directing the trailer for the series. The executives at the film studio were kind enough to allow me to do that, so I'm doing that for it. And my series, Ximphonic Versus, is it's not your typical. It's not a Western style, I guess, comic book that way. It got rejected 174 times by publishers because it aesthetically was different. It wasn't because I was doing something bad, or it wasn't written well, or it wasn't drawn properly. It just was aesthetically different. And for me, growing up, I was into like manhwa and the wuxia style comics, the Hong Kong comics, and so those are the things that's where I learned from. And so how I present the work is it's inspired by those types of things, but it's my own take on it. And a lot of publishers, they didn't want to take a chance on that because it was different. So I started my own company and just decided to self-publish. And like I said, now, past the 6,000 mark, the action figures are coming out this year. They're going to be like the Play Arts Kai Final Fantasy toys. They're going to be reminiscent of that. 11 inches, highly detailed, multiple heads and hands, power effects. Each Adonis figure will come with 5 different swords and 2 spears, and these are actually. This is actually the box that the action figure will come in.
Wow.
is this style box. So it's not even going to come in like your standard blister packaging kind of, and then that box is packaged into a larger box that has art. Everything is printed on the outside of it, and the series is really Ximphonic Versus is it's a mix of like dark fantasy, but if you can appreciate things like Hamlet and Bram Stoker's Dracula, um, it plays very much into those similar vein of things. Castlevania, Final Fantasy, it has a similar thread to that. So it very much is about this idea of human emotion, but set in this really stunning fantasy world that the story takes place in with the characters, and it's got a lot of action. There's a lot of suspense, and because it is a graphic novel series, it does take a long time to um, get it drawn. And I actually just finished the production on book 4 yesterday. I finished it and I made the master print file, and then I sent it off so I could get the proof copy. It's going to be a hardcover book for this, so I'm just waiting for it to come back so I can see how it looks. So if there's any adjustments I need to make to the colors or anything like that, then that way I can do that. And yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Nice. That's amazing. I mean, especially today's day and age where you're saying that you sold over 6,000 copies of this book without crowdfunding. I mean, where most of us now are using crowdfunding just to produce every issue. You're
Yeah.
doing this old school in a way where you're just like, I'm just hustling out there. I'm just, hand selling, online selling. So that's just fantastic. Travis, yes, Xing's screen is bigger because I wanted to showcase the amazing art that he had in the background also. So that's why his box is bigger than everybody's. He had a lot of stuff, and I was like, that looks cool. So that's why he's so much bigger.
I
Oh,
want the and 11 inches is crazy. The action figure.
That's
I
what she
know the
said.
standard. That is the action figures. I know the standards are somewhere closer to 7 or 9 inches. So an 11-inch action figure is crazy. So how are you planning on packaging those? Are you going to do bundles with the graphic novel, or are you selling those on your own? Or are you sending them out to stores?
so actually, I have. They're going to be at Walmart,
Mm,
online. They're going to be at Big Bag Toy Store, and then you'll be able to buy them directly from the website. And amazingly, I put them out for pre-order. They sold out the same day the pre-order opened, so the whole
wow.
first slate of the Prince Adonis figures are gone. And in the story, and I'm sorry, I didn't have time to get them out there. I keep the prototypes put away until like I do a show or I can display them, and I didn't get a chance to get them out. But in the story, Prince Adonis is the main character, and he comes from a mafia-like kingdom that's known as the Noctum Imperium. And when the story starts, he has lost his wife. She has passed away. And so he goes to this treaty signing that takes place in this neutral kingdom, which is known as the Glass Kingdom. And there he meets this princess named Sapphirose, who possesses the same power that he does, which is they have the ability to behold celestial light with their eyes, and they're the only two people in their world who possess this power, and it connects them, to a overall theme of the things that are going on in the series. And a very mysterious being known as Vero, and she is really this deity-like figure that is the empress of death, beauty, and agony in their world. And so she plays a really unique role in the things that go on and how their powers are connected together. And so Prince Adonis learns that there is a way that he could bring his wife back from the dead, that he could save her. So he sets out on this quest to find this foreboding power. But then, as he does that, he realizes that he has to make a choice not between good and bad, but between evil and a greater evil. So, how can you do what's right when you can only do what's wrong? You can only make bad choices. And it kind of sets him on this quest of passion and horror as he sets out to try to fix things and reclaim things that he has lost. And what that's the human aspect of it, where who of us wouldn't do anything to save people that we love? What will we do to protect them, to keep them safe? If we could undo things that went wrong, what would you do to do it? So those are a lot of the themes that really play on what happens. That it's that dichotomy between what really is evil or what's justifiable bad. What is where does that line begin to toe itself? And so he's caught in the middle of this, and there's all these other things going on in his world, but that in a nutshell, that's what's happening with him. So his figure comes first, as he's the main character, and the next figure that will come will be Sapphirose. And there's two versions of her. There's the version of her where she's in her imperial attire, and then one where she's in her armor. Then there is Concerto. Countess Concerto, she is actually Adonis's mentor in the series. Although his kingdom is the greatest kingdom in the north, there is a stewardship that helped to look after the throne while he was growing up, and it's called the Lucium Duodecim, which means the 12 lights or 12 flames. And so each one of the members are the last descendants of the original 12 kingdoms that died out, but the last part of their nobility was allowed to be brought in as a province to the Noctum Imperium. And so they served his father, they served on the council there, and they still do it while Prince Adonis is alive. And there's a lot of things that go on with them. There are so many things that happen in the series. And Ximphonic Versus' main storyline with just Prince Adonis is 930 chapters. And that's not counting the side stories, that's not counting the spin-offs, that's not counting the other things that take place in their world generations later between various characters. So when readers are introduced to Ximphonic Versus, everything that you could think of is there for them to be able to absorb. There are genealogy charts, the bloodline, the noble lineages, the noble houses. They're the map of their world. So the world the series takes place in is called Levi Samenos V. And that map is so large that if you print it piece by piece, it could literally cover an entire house. That's how big it is. And so the advantage that I have, that I'm grateful for, is that I am not just the creator and the writer, but the artist. So I can just, I've had all these years to just work on and develop everything just for, with myself, and not having to find other means to do it. So that I'm happy about. And kind of to what you brought out about how, Kickstarter has become a thing creators use, and I understand that. One of the things I think that I have encountered the most is people always ask, how can you sell that many books and you don't use crowdfunding, you're not at a publisher? And really the truth is that one, you have to really know, you have to know your story, you have to know your characters. If someone says, I'm not familiar with this, pitch it to me, they're not going to want to hear, well, this happens, oh wait, and then this happens, and oh, but I forgot this. Well, then that means you need to go back to the drawing board. You should be able to, within 15 to 30 seconds, sell what it is that you do, and then introduce them to this world so that they get emotionally invested. And once that happens, they'll be fans for life. They will continue to want to stay and be part of the things that are going on. And so, like an example, when when I got the TV deal, I got a message from a gentleman, and he asked me what this piece of artwork was, and it was this picture of the main character, Prince Adonis. And I said, "Oh, it's just this character from my series." And he said, "Well, I want you to call this number at 3 on Monday at exactly 3 p.m." And I didn't know what was going on. I thought maybe, is he from an art gallery? I thought maybe, is he possibly a publisher? There wasn't a lot of detail that was given in. And so he emphasized again, do not be late at exactly 3 p.m. I said, okay, that's kind of strange, but all right, I mean, and here I'm thinking, how, what could this possibly be? And he's interested in this, my artwork. And so I call and I get on the phone, and I will never forget, he says, okay, you called on time. That's good. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm not sure what's happening. And he said, well, I'm here, and the board of directors are here, and the president of the film company is here. You have 30 seconds. Go. And I'm like, wait, what? So I just go into it. I do my 30-second pitch about the story, and he's like, okay, hold on. And I can hear them talking in the back. It's inaudible, but I can hear voices, and I don't know what's going on. Then the president of the film company gets on the phone, and he says, you know what? I like it. We're going to turn it into a TV show. And I thought I was being pranked. I thought it was a joke. I thought, wait, what? And I will always remember, I took my phone away from my head, and I thought, this is a really bad joke, creative, but this is really messed up. And I thought, well, I couldn't get publishers to give me the time of day. Everyone that I wanted to work with did not want to work with me because they didn't want to take a chance on something that wasn't a Western style book, especially, you go back 20 years ago, long before, I know today anime and manga, it's everywhere, and all these kids and all these, it wasn't like that 30 years ago. It was different. It was very different. There were some comic shops that didn't even carry it. You had to get it from very specific places. And so they just didn't want to take a chance. But I thought, here is a movie studio who just said, we like this so much, we're going to turn it into something else. We're going to turn it into this other thing. And then from there, it went from not just them, but names like Santa Monica Studio, Blizzard Entertainment, big names at DC, big names at Image, who now have all had these really incredibly kind things to say about my work. And I thought, when people who make games like God of War tell you that you're doing the right thing, that you are, this is how you do it, that is a testament to the 30 years of hard work, the suffering, the failures, the hiccups, the everything that went wrong. And then you get to this point where you realize, and I get the use of crowdfunding, but a lot of creators that I have met said, well, I don't know how to sell my product. I don't know how to sell my book. And they say, well, I use Kickstarter, and I get that. But you're selling, it's sometimes just groups that sell to each other. And I get that. That's how things get funded. Everyone in the community is helping the other person get their project going, and they're all kind of fans of what they do. But you want to be able to learn to do that outside of that. You want to be able to sell it to anyone, to a guy walking down the street, when people who don't even read comics will say, I'm so impressed by this. I've started reading comic books because of what you do. That's the effect that you want to have on that. And so it's a multi-layered piece of, like, it's a multi-dimensional aspect to everything. It's not just one thing. It's a lot of little different things and little different pieces that you have to use to make it all work. But that's, every day I come in my office and I'm either writing or I'm drawing or I'm working on promotional things, or I'm going over notes with the storyboarders. It's so, but every day you have to do it. You have to consistently do it, and you have to be able to say, okay, uh, I'm not going to do this and then give up or quit, or because there's going to be the hardships, there's going to be the setbacks, there's going to be the failures, there's going to be the disappointments, but you have to be able to take that and you just keep going, because if you really want something, you're not going to quit, you're not going to give up, you're going to fight and fight until you achieve what you'd like to.
Yeah, and that's a great story, especially because I'm looking at the artwork you sent us, and the idea that people would see this artwork and be like, "I don't like that," and then you said, "You know what? I don't care if you like it. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep pressing on." You gave us a lot of, like I mentioned, some beautiful work. Can you describe what some of these things are? I'm gonna put them on the screen for us to see here.
Yeah, so this is actually a banner that, now this is all actual artwork from the book, but it's also significant to the story. So from left to right, we have Prince Adonis, that is Princess Sapphirose, that is Prince Theseus, there's Empress Harpsichord, there's Fantazine, there's Countess Concerto, and the end is Gaius Ippitus, who is the leader of the Shadow Knights. Uh, what is significant about this image is that if you look at all the characters, they're either looking forward or they're slightly looking forward and looking away. Adonis is the only character looking backwards, and that's because that represents his inability to let go of the things that have happened, his inability to overcome these great griefs that he's dealing with. And so he's setting himself kind of in this negative, and he's being surrounded by people who are telling him that the things he's doing is acceptable because his blood is divine, because his lineage is divine, because they come from, the great celestial dragons, because of all the things that go on. And so now he's in this place where he's making these really awful decisions and he's doing really terrible things, but it's being justified. And yet the hope, which is Sapphirose, she is referred to as the hope in the series, she's trying to help him in other ways, and he can't see that, he can't get beyond what's happened. And so that's the significance of that image.
Yeah, a couple more here. Like these are just popped down. These are just amazingly detailed and just beautiful looking here.
Oh, thank you. That's Sapphirose when she's in her armor. Um, when she's in her imperial attire, her appearance is one way, but then when she transforms into her armor, this is the look that she takes. Her hair moves and it's braided on the side, and it's shaved down, and then that makeup that's there. And this is from a panel that's in book 3 that came out last year. It came out in June, and so that's just a small snippet from that scene.
All right, we're gonna do one more because we don't want to take up too much time. I mean, it's a beautiful work, but we want to find out more about the series itself. But yeah, that's beautiful.
So this is a double spread page from book 1, and that is Prince Adonis, and that is his divine phantom power that is active around him. So what looks like those broken shards of enchanted glass, that is actually how his power looks when it becomes physical. And he's in the place where he's at. That's a very significant realm that exists between the twilight. And so this is a really important scene from the first graphic novel, but it's one of my favorites. And I don't really show a lot of pages. I'll show snippets of panels, but not full pages, because I don't want to take the experience away from readers. But that scene, that is one scene that I do like to share with readers and potential readers, so they can see the quality of how the art looks every page and panel.
Right. It's amazing. 30 years, man. It's a great journey, man. It's just amazing to see, the dedication to the craft, and the ability to keep pushing forward. I see so I We see a lot of, Asian influence in your stories and your work and even in your name. I think the first time I saw it, I thought of the game Shinmu back on a Dreamcast. And
That's my digital crack right there. My goodness, that is
I,
the.
and
I mean, don't
I
do
don't
crack;
know.
it's terrible. But digital crack, that's the way to
Digital
go.
crack is okay.
That gets you right every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, so I thought I don't it immediately made me think of Shin, but like back in the day playing that game hours and hours,
Oh yeah,
and just
yeah.
the depth and the storytelling in that, and even though it's a different type of story, just put me in the mind. So can you speak to the Asian influences in your work and for the viewers?
Yeah, so I grew up in a blended household. My grandmother is from Taiwan, so growing up, I was introduced to things at such an early age that wasn't part of like pop culture today. It wasn't like it is where it's everywhere. It wasn't, So growing up, I saw manga and I wasn't really into it. It's there's a lot of really great stuff out there. Some of it is really it's excellent. A lot of really famous stories, but I was more into, like I said, the wuxia, the Hong Kong comics. That is people like Andy Sato and Wing Ching Ma, and just these amazing artists and writers, and so that's where I learned. And so what I wanted to do was take the things that I loved. I love the Baroque and the Rococo, and so I took those influences and I made my own version of how these things would look in my world. And so when you look at the world of Ximphonic Versus, it's very similar to places like Cologne in Germany, or Castile in Spain, or if you look at Prague, you look at these really very beautiful older cities where you've got this modern architecture, but these great, beautiful Gothic buildings that sit within it and around it. And so those were the influence. Those were always the things that I loved, that I wanted to be able to show and to work on. And it's funny, I have pictures of Adonis that I drew like 25 years ago, where he's standing in front of this like Baroque style fountain with water coming out of it and things like that, and it looks awful. But it, those are. It's like it's the same things from all those years ago to where we are now. It's been the same thing, and I think that was another reason why publishers had a hard time trying to accept it, I guess, because it really is just its own thing. Like, I went to Diamond Distribution to try to get distribution for the series. Diamond tells me we can't, because we can't compare it to anything on the market, so we're not going to buy it. So when you have a company who you would think that's the point of creativity, is to make things new, to make things that are unique, not the same things over and over and over. But that's what they told me. They said we couldn't compare it to anything, so that's why we're declining to pick it up. And I thought, I'll take that as a win. I will take that as another win. That's another notch in my belt that proves I'm not doing something wrong. It is just what it's supposed to be. And that's it. That's, at the end of the day, regardless of how people perceive it who don't understand it, I think about the fans. I think about the readers. And at the end of the day, this will always be my work. They're my characters. It's my ideas. But it's the readers that turn it into something more. It's because of them that it turns into this greater experience. And then you share that with them, because they're the ones who breathe a different type of life into it. And so that, they're really the heroes that make it functional, is them. So anything else, it just becomes a mute issue.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm familiar, but can you talk about the difference between books in the series so far? Sure. So there. Okay, so because Symphonic Versus is a graphic novel series, there are what is called the Exordium Eclipses, which are preludes. It's 4 prelude books that show you uh, snippets from each of the graphic novels, and then there's the whole actual graphic novel. So if people maybe just kind of want to get their feet wet, but they're not sure what the series is about, you can start with the Exordium Eclipses set, and then if people just want to dive headfirst into the deep end, you go right to the graphic novel series. And like example, so this is Consequence 2. This is the second graphic novel. It's 108 pages. The cover and all the covers to the books are symbolic. They're significant because of what's happening in the story. And so that that skull that's right there, that is crying those bloody tears, in the first book, the skull is here, and a light is beaming behind it. But now the light has disappeared, and now it's crying the bloody tears, and it's moved upward. And it's because as each book goes on, it's representing what is happening to the main character. The roses making reference to the noble houses that are in the story and that make up his Adonis's lineage. It makes up the house of Latreculus. That's his last name. Now this is the Consequence 3 prelude. It's just 16 pages. It's short, but that's what introduces, the next part. Then you have book 3. So this is the third book, and now the skull is up here. It's different, and now it's being basked again by this kind of divine light. But now 2 more skulls have showed up beside it with their mouths open, and that's a representation of the danger that is impending for the character and for the things that are happening. And this is the book 4 prelude, which came out, I want to say maybe December. Maybe it was December, maybe November. I can't. But this is the book 4 prelude. So
it's all a blur. It's all a blur.
It's all a blur.
30 years. It's a lot to take in.
it just becomes a blur. But that's the difference between it. Is you have the preludes that you can start with, or you can just jump right into the full graphic novel series. And once book 4 comes out in March, I'm already drawing books 5 and 6, getting those worked on. And book 5, I'm hoping to release maybe later in the year. But all the art that you see, it took a long time to develop that style.
Mm-hmm.
Many years, so many trials and error. But then once it all started to click, it all just kind of started to work, and then it just kind of like blossomed into what you see.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Love it.
All right, does anybody else have any questions for Xing before we do quick takes?
All right, it's 10:40. It's that time. Let's do it.
All right.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for one of my favorite parts of the show, quick takes. If you're unfamiliar with the quick takes, we're going to do a rapid fire Q&A session with Xing, and you'll have 45 seconds to answer 5 questions each in off the top of your head. And when Kyron is ready, we'll go. Quick takes. All right. So, question number 1. For 30 years, like you said, you've been an artist and a writer. So, I want to know which part has more of you, the writer part or the artist part, and how do they battle each other?
I think it's equal. They're both kind of similar, because the the writing is the heartbeat of the characters, the personalities, but the art is the representation of what they really are. And so some people sound really bad but they look beautiful, and then some people look beautiful but they're really terrible. So it's kind of an equal balance between the two.
Okay, I love it. All right, question number 2. We didn't talk about if you do conventions or shows and things like that, but I know we talked about you hustling out there and selling wherever you can. So I want to know, which one do you prefer, big shows or small cons, and why?
I for years I did shows. Back when some of the shows max capacity was like 800 people.
Mm,
I like big shows; they're okay. Small shows are okay. I kind of I don't if I don't have to do a lot of either, I'm okay with that, because I did it for so long that it's just like, well, I unless I have to do it, I'm okay not doing it. Either one of them. But if it's something I have to do, then I'll go, and it's you just make it work.
All right, that's fair. Okay. Question number 3. In 30 years, you had to have grown through the whole digital art age, with Photoshop coming in and other tools and all kinds of stuff. So I want to know, what is the biggest difference in traditional versus digital art, and which one is better for you?
Um, there again, I think it's a thing where they're kind of the same, in the sense that you're trying to achieve the same goal. Digital does allow you to do certain things um, in a way that makes it a little more seamless than just traditional, but traditional still lets you have that very human touch to what you're doing.
Mm,
Like you can feel the graphite on the paper. So
yeah.
it's both. Both has an advantage and a disadvantage. So it's good to balance out both types.
Okay. All right. Question number 4, and this one might be a little controversial. Yeah,
Yeah,
Tion said
power
The
of
power
undo.
of undo. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Exactly.
that's
Yeah.
a huge
Layers
that's
and undo. That's the boy.
exactly
Save you a
that's
lot of headaches.
this one might be a little controversial, but when we started, I think when we first contacted you, um, you know, you came out and said, "Hey, this is not AI art." So I assume that people have compared your stuff to AI before. So is there a competition with AI art? What do you think about AI art in comics, and is it a good thing or is it a bad thing?
I think AI is bad for art. If it steals, that's
Mhm.
bad. Do I think AI should be used for things like medicine? Yes. If it can help progress science, scientific things that could help people, help mankind, that's one thing. But it's bad for art. And for people who aren't artists who use it now and they're like, oh, now I'm an artist. No, you're not. That doesn't count. That's why they call it painting, because you suffer. It's pain. And if you haven't suffered, then you can't say I'm an artist. That doesn't count. So no, it's bad for art, but good for things that help people.
I 100% agree on that. I'm like, there's so many things in the world that could use AI.
Hmm.
Why? But art is not one of them.
Not art. It's not one.
art is
Not even
art is
close.
at way at the bottom of the list of things that we need AI for.
Exactly.
Um, AI
Exactly.
could do so much for the world, but they want to use it to steal people's jobs. All right.
Yeah.
Number
Sure.
5. So I have another show called Top 5 Live, where weekly we do a top 5 list on a different any different subject. I saw that you posted a picture on your Facebook of a Reese's cup. No comment, no description, no nothing. Just a Reese's cup, and I think it was a smiley face. So I want to know, what are your top 5 candies?
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Hmm.
Uh, the old school peanut butter Twix, the kind they don't make anymore.
Oh yeah,
I do like Snickers. I
yeah.
like
There
old
we go.
school Butterfinger. That original flavor. That new flavor is garbage. I don't know what it is, but that's not
The one that,
Butterfinger.
one that sticks in your
Um,
teeth.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, that's not working. And then I like Mr. Goodbar.
Oh, I love Mr. Goodbar.
Okay.
Mr. Goodbar is probably my
It's good.
favorite chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Good chocolate and peanut butter. You can't go wrong with that.
Can't go wrong with that.
Is it weird that I like Mr. Goodbar as the minis, but not the full size ones?
I prefer the minis too. I prefer the little
Oh,
snack size mini ones. Yeah.
Oh, you like the mini ones?
Yeah, I don't like it as a full size
tried
candy.
Have you tried the big Reese's that's like that massive cup that's like an inch thick?
Yes, I have.
I mean, it's like eating 3 of them at once. Like the way that it's so big, and it's just like, yeah, that's I love that, but you gotta eat those in pace.
Yeah, it's bad for you.
Tion mentions whatchamacallits. Those were fire back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Whatchamacallits.
Whatchamacallits were great.
I'm probably weird for this, but I really enjoy the zero bars. Y'all ever had the zero bars?
Yeah.
The white chocolate?
Yeah, you're weird for that.
My dad likes those a lot.
I love them though. I love them.
Yeah. They are right.
I love them. Okay, thank you for doing that with us. That was quick takes. This week sponsored by Crayola.
Crayola, if you really want to sponsor quick takes, please reach out to me at fourtailspodcast@gmail.com.
Sharpen your crayon in the back here. Okay.
You remember you used to be in school and you'd have those Crayola boxes with the sharpeners and people thought you were rich for that?
Yeah, you had to be. You had to be rich to get one of these.
All right. Well, this has been a fun time, very informative. We appreciate you having the time to come and be on the show with us. We want to make sure people check out your work and buy your book. So where can people go to purchase your book and keep up with you for future things?
Oh no, guys, I appreciate you having me on the show. Thank you very much for that. Ximphonic Versus is on Facebook. It's on Instagram. I have an X or a Twitter. Then there is the official Ximphonic Versus website, which is just symphonicversus.com. If you type it into Google, it all just pops right up. The IMBD, the Facebook, the everything, it's right there. And I'm on all I run the social medias, so I'm on them regularly, updating with things as often as I can. Sometimes daily if it's really exciting things. I actually did post a snippet of animation from the animatic from the anime on Instagram a few days ago. So if people would like to see that, they can go there and they can see it. And and I can be reached through the website, through Instagram, through Facebook, anything like that.
That's awesome. All right, Danny, quick, where can people check you out?
Y'all know me. If you want to find me, the best place to go is fourthwallpros.com. We actually just announced our hardcover that we're doing with Bequest Studios. We'll be launching on Kickstarter on the 22nd of February. So
do you have the cover for that yet? Hardcover that you want to show?
I can't show anybody. I can't show anybody yet, but it's coming.
You can't show anybody?
I can't show any. I have not shown a single person the hardcover. Kyron might have gotten a sneak peek, but if you want to find me on social media, it's at the Ace Blade on all social media platforms. Kyron, where can people find you?
You can find me at TaurusComics.com. I am on all social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Taurus Comics. And this is the first time checking out the Four Tails podcast. You can go to our website, fourtailspodcast.com, where you can find all our past episodes. You can even support us financially by buying us a coffee, maybe buying some merch, things like that. But join us in 2 weeks. We're not going to be here next week. Danny has an event. I have an event. So join us in 2 weeks where we are going to have the sensational Sean Mack on the show, talk about comics and cuts and more.
Nice.
So please be back here so we can get some information about this man. But until next time, sayonara, goodbye, and everyone, please take care of yourselves.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.